Hello, hello. It says I'm live, so I'm going to trust that I am today. And I want to say hello to everyone. I am so glad you're with me today. If you are live right now with me, let me know you're here. I actually cannot see anyone, so um, if you're here, I don't know that you are. Um, so just let me know. And also give a shout out to your organization. Let's go ahead and shout out our organization while we're here. All right, if you are watching in replay, because I know there's a lot of you that do, give me a hashtag team replay because it's always fun to see who watched the video no matter when you watched it. So I am excited about the content today. When you leave this live, you will be able to use what you've learned to create one easy fundraising activity for your nonprofit. And I am going to help you take that very first step to not being the sole funder. All right, in case you don't know me, I'm Alicia Mathis. I've worked in nonprofits for almost 10 years in administration, fundraising, and programs, served on a new nonprofit board, and have been working with nonprofit founders for 4 years now. It was when I was a board member for a brand new nonprofit that I asked the question, if you have zero donors, how do you raise money? The fundraising activities we are talking about today are things that I found works well for nonprofits that have minimal audiences. So I want you to understand that what we are talking about is possible. New nonprofits use these techniques and get funding. The appeal letter that we'll talk about all by itself brought in $300 for the brand new nonprofit I was a board member for. Now, if you're on my email list, you received the link to the exact file with my notes to help you write your own. So, how would it feel to write a letter, send it, and make $300? Tell me about how it would feel in the comments. And I'm going to go check the comments and see who's here. All right. I see Marilyn. Great to see you. And I see Tarrant Author Henry. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the name right, but I'm glad you're here too. Thank you for being here. All right. So, Um, I asked how it would feel to write a letter, send it, and make $300 just from doing that. Well, for the nonprofit board I sat on, it was a huge win for our nonprofit. We had absolutely no donors, and the founder and board were funding the organization. So having that outside income was awesome. It really made us feel like we could do it. All right. Just checking the comments again. Oh, okay. Kay Wilson, welcome. I see you're on. Um, so let's let's dive in to what we're talking about today. Now, before we get way deep, there is a common misconception that people have when it comes to fundraising, and we need to talk about it. So, that misconception is asking for money is begging. If that is your belief, give me a yes. You are not alone in your thinking. I still see people in nonprofits who are fundraisers with this belief. So let me check the comments. Do you believe asking for money is begging? Let's see. Y'all have gone silent. This must be something you don't want to talk about. Well, the problem with the line of thinking is that you become the sole funder. Some founders don't ask their board for the exact same reason, and they get exactly the same result. They stay the sole funder. So, When you are part of an organization, in order to do good in the world, you must figure out how to pay for it. Nonprofits are regulated on where the income comes from and how the income can be spent. It's part of the tax exempt status. So donations are tax exempt at any level for the nonprofit. Now, this is looking at it from an organizational perspective and not the donor perspective. So I want to be very clear here. If your nonprofit gets a $10,000 donation or a $50,000 donation, you wouldn't pay taxes on that money. So donations are a high priority for nonprofits. All right, now let's talk more about this misconception. Asking for money is begging. The belief is you are begging for someone to give to you. But that isn't true fundraising. You see, true fundraising is connecting the people who want to make the difference in their world to the people who make that difference. So donors choose the causes they are passionate about in many different ways. I want you to hear me on that. They choose causes to give to. See, begging to me is trying to make someone do something they really don't want to do. Imagine if we truly had the power of making someone do something they didn't want to do. Well, we'd be out of business because there would be no more need for our organization. Our problems would be solved. Begging also has a connotation of parties in a relationship that has an imbalance of power. So one person is subservient to the other. See, but true funding relationships have both parties bringing something of power to the relationship, creating an equal partnership. So fundraising is connecting people in order to do something they want to do. Donors want to make a difference in the world around them, one life at a time. So people asking for money aren't coming from a place of weakness. You have the power. I live near an Air Force base, so you probably just heard a plane fly over. This is probably a good time to stop for just a second. It is live after all. Okay, let's get back into this. Things always happen around here. Okay, um, so people asking for money aren't coming from a place of weakness. So you have the power to change lives for the better through your organization. Yet donors have the ability to fund it. You both have a piece of the puzzle, and when you combine forces, you both have the power to solve the problem. So when we see this connection, we can make shifts in our thinking that will help us raise more money and not be the sole funder. So we will then become people who empower others. All right, let's see. It can. Oh, hello, Amber. How are you doing? It can feel like trickery when we figure out how to raise funds. What do you mean by that exactly? It feels like trickery. Um, that's interesting. I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Oh, like you finally figured out the magic. Yes, I know. When you finally figure out how to talk to people, how to talk about your organization in a way that people are like, that makes a difference. I want to be a part of it. Yes, it is very magical. Um, so that's really cool. I like that. Amber says, like I can manipulate others to give. No. You know, if we could all do that, we would never need money, right? That's called con artists, right? Okay, so let's get into some of the meat now of what we're talking about today. So, individual donors are where you start. If you are just beginning, this is where we start. They are the bottom of the hierarchy of fundraising strategy. That is I meant to get that graphic. I'll have to put that graphic in the comments when we're done. But it's actually a triangle, and there's a hierarchy to fundraising. Um, so the individual donors is at the very bottom, and this step will constitute 3/4 of all contributions to your organization. So it's the very foundation of donations. And there are 3 levels in this step. So the first level activities are online gifts, direct mail and email, in kind from individuals, and peer to peer fundraising. These activities take little resources and infrastructure to complete. That's why we start there. They also help you learn fundamental fundraising skills, and they can be successful with a minimal number of donors, approximately 10 to 600. So once you reach the 600 donor mark, you can more easily move to level 2. But keep in mind that this is the foundational level, so you'll always come back to this level and continue activities. All right, so level 2 activities include things like text to give and events, both um, events that you organize and ones that others organize for you. Um, and then crowdfunding, so things like GoFundMe charity. So these strategies tend to be more effective when you have a donor base of at least 600. And then at 1,500 active donors on your donor list, then you can move more easily to level 3. So let's talk about level 3. These activities include pledge fundraising, monthly donations, annual campaigns, planned gifts, major gifts, and capital campaigns. So these activities tend to be more effective with about 1,500 donors or more. However, I am told that planned gifts and major gifts can be successfully started on a very small scale at 600 donors. Okay, but we're not talking about level 2 or 3 today. We are going to concentrate on 3 activities in level 1. Peer-to-peer fundraisers in the form of asking peers, direct mail, email through the introductory appeal letter, and online gifts in the form of a $5 Friday online fundraiser. All right, before we get into this, let me check the comments and see what y'all are talking about. Um, let's see. Y'all are pretty quiet. You must be paying attention. All right, get out your pens and paper, get out your notebooks. Let's start talking about um, level 1, 3 level 1 activities that you can do. All right, so very, very basic. Start from within when asking for donations. This one is easy, and so that's why I'm starting with it. It is what you do when you have 0 donors. Okay, so you're going to make a list of 20 people that you think would be open to your cause. And when I say open to your cause, they have some sort of affinity for what you're doing. All right. They may just love you too. Don't um, exclude those people. You can ask those people that are just like you. But if you can get people that are more open to your cause, that's going to help later down the road. So, some examples: friends, coworkers, family, fellow church members, fellow civic club members, and on and on. So, think about the people you come in contact with on a regular basis and start making that list. All right, now you're going to have to ask them. So, sometimes it works well if you prepare a script of what you want to say to them. It can be just bullet points. You can sit down and actually write it out. A lot of times, though, if you write it out, it sounds very scripted. And so that may not be the best thing to do. If you write it out, you probably want to practice it a few times. But you can prepare some sort of script, and then what you'll include is your the need, your unique solution to the problem, your vision, and your passion, or otherwise known as why you are doing this. So, does any of you already have this perfected? Have you been asking? Let me know in the comments. And if you have, give us your number one tip that you find works well when you're asking someone personally. So, let's see. Marilyn says that $5 Friday sounds good. Yes, it's one of my favorites to do. I actually raised about $18,000 from something very similar to that. So it can be done. All right, let's move on. If you're still typing, please type. I'll come back and we can talk about that. And we're about to have another flyby. I don't know if you can hear it. I don't know what they're doing today. All right, number two, the appeal letter. So this is a letter from you and your board that will introduce your nonprofit, tell the reader the need, what the nonprofit's unique solution to the problem is, and why you support it. I hear it again. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so again, introduce your nonprofit, tell the reader the need, the nonprofit's unique solution to the problem, and then why you support it. So you can write this as a general letter, print it, and have your board send to 10 people each. Have them write a personal note on the letter to the recipient. Again, in your emails, you got the swipe file. That was the exact letter that I sent when I was on a new nonprofits board. And it's got my notes in it too. So it really shows you what you're thinking about writing when you write it. So, um, oh, okay. Amber, she says, going back to the tip for talking, my tip would be to tell a personal story. Yes. And as the founder, you have a very unique perspective and story to tell. You can tell them why you started this. A lot of people, this is a calling. It is something that they either have experienced themselves or knew someone very close to them that experienced the problem that they are trying to solve. So that can be really, really great to as the founder. And that's probably one of the first stories you need to craft. You need to sit down and write out and get that honed in because that story can be used everywhere. All right, let's get into the really exciting $5 Friday. This is usually a Facebook fundraiser. It seems to work really, really well. And so I'm going to go through the steps very quickly here, but look for a video towards the end of the month that will go into detail, a lot of detail, about how to do this Facebook fundraiser. So keep your eyes out for that. I think I've got it scheduled to go out about the 22nd of the month. So keep your eyes out, like I said, towards the end. All right, let's see. The very first thing is you've got to get your message right. It will make or break this fundraiser. So number one is get your message right. So many nonprofits underestimate the power of their message, but it's not something you can skip or do half-heartedly. The right messaging will draw people to donate. The wrong messaging will repel your ideal donor. So getting this right makes or breaks the campaign. All right, next, quickly glancing over, see if there's any questions we've got so far. I don't see any, but I'll come back. All right, next, you got to get the tech set up. I know, I don't like tech either. So you're going to set up your Facebook page if you don't already have one, um, or you're going to check to see if your existing one needs updating. So make sure that you have all of your information updated, all of your contact information is correct. Those are really important things. Um, Next, you're going to decide on the platform you need in order to collect donations. If you don't already have some way to process donations, some people use the Facebook um, collection method. Um, People seem to think it's easier because it's all integrated. You can also just drive people to a website, either your website with a donation page or something like GiveBox works too. So you're going to have to think through all of the back end steps that you will have to take in order to make the campaign successful. So an example is, how are you going to collect the donations online? The very first question. You need to find software that will be able to create a donation page and process donations. If you don't have a website, then you absolutely have to have some way to collect donations and some sort of donation page. If you have a website, you should already have a donation page. All right, I talked about GiveBox. It is a great option if you need ticket sales on the donation page. Um, GiveButter is a good option to live stream and text to donate. You can do that. But just make sure the platform you choose fits your needs. And then spend some time getting your donation page ready. So don't forget to use your messaging in your donation page and make sure everything works. Make sure those links work. Because it's not fun to have a donor ready and willing to donate and they can't. It is frustrating for both you and them. Okay, third, you're going to decide on your social postings. So now is the time to decide on what will be posted and when. Use your messaging to create your posts and schedule them once they are approved. All right, then number 4, you're going to write a great fundraising letter or email. This is something that you do in addition to the online because it helps. It helps increase your donations. So to get the most out of the campaign, you're going to mail letters if you choose um, to anyone without an email address, and send emails to everyone with an email address. This cuts down on cost. Um, you could also just decide just to try this out to just email people you have email addresses for and see what happens. You can do that. Um, and then what you do after that is you have follow-up letters or emails, because that will double the amount. Whenever you do a follow-up letter or email, um, it can double the amount that you get from the initial letter or email. It is wild how that happens, but it does happen. So if you're able to do a follow-up, let's see. And the follow-up letter will be a few days before um, the actual campaign ends. And of course, if your budget allows. Now, if money is tight, then sending that follow-up email may not be your best option. All right, so you're going to use your messaging in the letter or the email to demonstrate need and impact. You can leave this step out if you just want to do a fundraiser, no, or a $5 Friday fundraiser. Okay, the last step is to have fun. Having fun with your campaign is going to be so much um, easier. It's going to help bring people in. Don't take yourself too seriously. So, social media is meant to be fun and social. So, do that. Have your board members send in their own pictures. Have them like, comment, and share the posts that you put out. And if you uh, look like you are having a good time, others will want to join in. So do something like that. Have a little bit of fun. I hear another airplane. So um, we did an online campaign. Um, I was a board member at another nonprofit. There was about 600 donors, and we did this in last May at the beginning um, of COVID, and it was an ungala, is what it was called, um, which we sent out invitations, especially online, and then board members sent pictures in to be posted of how we were going to have an ungala, how we were going to participate in an ungala. It was it was so cool because we had people in their pajamas and rollers in their hair saying, you know, we're showing up to the ungala because it was a no-show gala. You didn't actually show up. And participating this way, we had one set of board members who they took a picture in their bed. The woman had her gown on, a fur coat, and a tiara, and the man had like the Winston Howe, coat on, a bed coat. I don't know what you call it. Yeah, and that they were sitting there. It was so cool. That was the one that we made $18,000 on. And so for about a week, we had all those things. Now, a $5 Friday, what you do with them is you're going to pick one um, one need that you have that's about $500, just one. So I have actually seen this with like animal rescues. They needed hay for horses. So they said, we have a need for $500 uh, for hay that will feed our horses. And they had this picture of a horse, um, one just out in the pasture, one actually eating. So they had a couple of different ones that they used. And so what would happen is every Friday for a month, they asked for the $500 for hay. They changed out the pictures, and and then they wrote a very compelling message, and it talked about um, what they do and how they help the horses and why uh, feeding the horses was so important, which you can guess, to keep them alive, or why it was so important at that time of year. And so then they just asked people for $5. That's it. They needed 100 people to donate $5 to reach their goal. That is super powerful. It is super um, easy to do. And we'll go through this in the video that's coming out later this month about how to construct that. that message and what pictures to use. I go through all of that. But it is really, really powerful and easy to do. I mean, who couldn't donate $5? And if you only need 100 people, that doesn't sound so bad. And so that's how organizations right now are raising about $500 when they do this. And you only do it on Friday. So you call it a $5 Friday. And that's what you do. Some do it every Friday, some do it every other Friday, some do it just one Friday a month. But it's been really helpful, and I know during 2020 it was extremely successful. So I think that that could help you too if you have any kind of following at all. If you don't have a following, you can always put it on your on the Facebook business page, your organization page, and then as a profile, share it to your own profile. And that will help with reach. And if all of your board members are doing the same, that's going to help considerably. Okay, let me look and see. We don't have any questions. Okay, no questions. If you have any, go ahead and type them in. We went through a whole lot of information. So you got the overview of what a campaign looks like, an online campaign. And then we talked about the $5 fundraiser. And again, I promise, there is a video coming that is going to go into detail about how to do this. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So let's talk about the next steps. So if you aren't signed up for the email list, please do so. I send one email a month, so I'm not going to hound you. And it includes some extra information about the month's topic, tip, and additional resources like templates and how to get further learning. It's also the place to get discounts, deals, free trials, and coupon codes to my services. So if you receive the email this month, use the introductory appeal letter swipe file to write your own letter. That's going to be one of the easiest ways you can get some money in. And then let me put in some resources, and then I will also put in the hierarchy. And we are going to be done next month. Thursday, August 5th at 2 o'clock, we're going to have another Facebook Live, and I'm going to answer the question, what do you do when you've exhausted asking your family and friends? We'll talk about the next step. All right, let me put this in, and I will see you later. Have a great day. Bye.